A paid CBC commentator calls the Sun News Network and me disgusting, loathsome, and gross. I think they like me. I think they really like me. That's tonight on The Source. Oh boy, I'm in trouble now. The government broadcaster doesn't think I'm being sufficiently religious about Jack Layton's death. I'm not quite sure why. I mean, I am sad that he died. Well, I'm not personally sad. I never knew him. I just met him once. I was opposed to his politics during his lifetime. But as the great John Donne wrote about 400 years ago, no man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. Any man's death diminishes me, because I'm involved in mankind, and therefore never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. That's beautiful, isn't it? And it's true, of course. Here at The Sun, we did mark Jack Layton's passing appropriately. It was our top story for a full day, and we aired many notes of condolence and remembrance. I thought it was quite remarkable. Actually, we even had longtime political rivals, ranging from Brian Mulroney to Rob Ford, make beautiful eulogies. Here's a clip of me talking fondly of Layton's finer qualities with NDP activist Adam Giambrone. Because to me, he was always the symbol of not just physical strength, but moral courage and pep. And to see him looking that way was terrifying. And today, of course, we learned that Jack Layton has passed away. I had to take an insulin shot after saying that. But that was nearly a week ago, and the loss of the man has turned into a public spectacle. It has now become officially absurd. This isn't what John Donne talked about. This is a bit of O.J. Simpson, plus Michael Jackson, plus a dash of Princess Diana. It's no longer even respectful to Layton. It's like the paparazzi have been put in charge of making this funeral really, really classy. Jack Layton's poor corpse has positively been put on a campaign tour bus. Again, visiting Ottawa, then Quebec, then Ottawa again, now Toronto. Sure, it's not in a campaign bus, but it's in the campaign style. If you doubt it, then you're not paying attention. The whole thing has been tightly scripted by the NDP spin doctors, who actually admit that they even edited Layton's public farewell letter. This whole thing is a stage-managed political campaign. That's just gross. It's like the NDP War Room is giving it one last try, Weekend at Bernie's style. I mean, the CN Tower is to be bathed in orange light. The party colors of the NDP, a bridge in Calgary, has already been lit up in orange. Every federal politician has put out an official statement of grieving, and so has every provincial politician, municipal politician, Rotary Club president, chess club president, and Boy Scout troop. And Stephen Harper himself has committed the government to an official state funeral, something traditionally reserved for the likes of governors general or former prime ministers. It's become maudlin, a combination of ostentatious public grieving where attention-hungry media hounds try to outdo each other, and the NDP pros desperately trying to capitalize on a personal loss. How long before the Jack Layton commemorative plates are for sale? How long before the Vatican is pressured into beatifying the man? Sure, I mean, listen, it's gross. And the grossest thing about it isn't even the fetishization of his corpse, which is now bordering on necrophilia. It's that his corpse is being used as a political weapon. Let me be clear. I'm sorry that Jack Layton died. I really am. I didn't much like the man, but I would never have wished him an untimely end. And at 61, he clearly had a long and productive life ahead of him. Though I disagreed with him, he was an important part of our democracy. I wish he had lived to finish his public role, and obviously I wish he had lived for the sake of his friends and family. But I am unwilling to be part of this rush to turn him into a saint or even a national treasure. Sorry, folks, he was a politician. Oh, and if the new standard for state funerals is simply being the leader of the opposition, well, get ready for national state funerals for Lucien Bouchard and Gilles Duceppe, those separatists too. Look, the whole point of state funerals is to be above the political fray, that there are some things that are above the muck of partisanship. That's the whole point of tradition and protocol, and even of having a monarchy. That's our view here at the Sun News Network. We were respectful of Layton and even kind to him. But we have not painted our studios orange. We have not dressed in the black colors of mourning like other networks have. And we have not tried to turn his death into a do-over of the last federal election campaign. Well, that's us, but over at the government broadcaster, our dissent did not go unnoticed. Over at the CBC, they believe in enforcing an ideological line, and if you're not sufficiently sad this week, they write down your name. Take a look at these two clips from the CBC yesterday. It's a comment from Ian Capstick, an NDP activist who is paid to go on the CBC. Check this out.
If you take a look at the thread of commonality between all of the various individuals who are suggesting these things, we've basically got the folks over at Sun TV, Ezra Levant, screaming and yelling about the CBC on a regular basis because that's what he wants to do these days. So he's going to use this as his own political platform, which I think is a little bit disgusting. In fact, I think he's just a little bit disgusting, and he can clip that if he wants to. And quite frankly, you know what? It's time that the left hits back, and that's what I'm doing today.
So you've got the left-wing government broadcaster paying a left-wing NDP activist to attack the journalism of a private broadcaster who dares to have a different opinion. And our different opinion is not acceptable to them. It's disgusting. We're disgusting. We're not just different or conservative or competitors. We positively disgust the CBC because, according to Capstick, we're interfering with his love of Layton. A moment later, Capstick doubles down. Sure, he says, I have a legal right not to love Jack Layton and not join in the National Necrophilia Week, but that just makes me loathsome and gross. Check this clip out.
Say it all you want. I can still think you're loathsome and disgusting for saying it, and that's what I'm saying. Not that they shouldn't be able to say it. Don't ever get me wrong there.
Okay.
Because I am, at my very core, a libertarian on the matter of free speech. Let's not forget this.
Okay.
Ezra and I do agree on some things, and on that matter we agree. He can say it, and I can think he's pretty gross for doing it.
I got it. So there is the CBC NDP view, which is pretty much the same thing, and then there's the other view, which is loathsome. You know, these leftists love diversity about everything, unimportant, race, sexual orientation, etc. But the one thing they will never tolerate is a diversity of opinion. Again, it's because we don't love Jack Layton enough. But let's look one more time at the first clip. Roll that for a second.
And quite frankly, you know what? It's time that the left hits back, and that's what I'm doing today.
He says it's time for the left-wingers to start hitting back, to start propagandizing, to start fighting back. Ian, the CBC is 75 years old. The left has had a full-time propaganda wing in the CBC since the 1930s. Time for the left to get its own propaganda going? It has been going, with a near monopoly for decades. Only now that the Sun News Network is alive has there ever been any other points of view on TV. But I think Capstick is actually right. I think he and his fellow left-wingers ought to get rolling. I think they should start their own TV station with their own money. Start a left-wing all-news channel that, unlike the CBC, doesn't send the bill to taxpayers. Put their own money where their mouth is. Find some big left-wing millionaire to bankroll it. Knock yourself out. Just stop using taxpayers' money to do it. Ian Capstick is an NDP extremist, but the CBC pays him your tax dollars to bash us, the CBC's competition. It's a perfect snapshot of the political elites all in bed with each other. I call it the media party. The desecration of Jack Layton's corpse is the closest thing that the left wing comes to a religious ritual. No wonder the CBC and the NDP are reacting to the Sun News Network like it were heretics who should be burned at the stake. I regret Jack Layton's passing. That was never part of his cult of personality while he was alive, and I'm certainly not going to join it now.